Hey, how's it going everybody, and welcome back to Nitro Reviews. Today's review is going to be a little special as this review marks the 2-year anniversary of the channel. To think that I started back in 2016 with a small review of Ghostbusters 2016. That one video sparked my passion for reviewing, leading me to where I am today. But while that review was a good starting point for me, I don't consider that my first real review. That honor goes to Steven Universe, and oh boy, was that a mistake on so many levels. If you know me, then you know I'm not very fond of Steven Universe, and sharing my honest opinions, to be honest, did not bode well for me. But it's 2018, the Steven Universe fan base has seemingly calmed their tits, and now I feel like I can tackle the show once more with a more understanding fan base. So today I'll be re-reviewing the episode I originally reviewed, Weather Forecast. The reason I'm reviewing this episode is because it's the only Steven Universe episode that I actually like, and it'll help me explain my problems with the show as well as what this episode does right compared to the others. Also, before we begin the review, I must point out that if you look through my videos, you won't be able to find the original review. That's because the day I uploaded the review, I actually got a copyright warning put on the video, and just 2 years after this, they finally decided to take down my video and give me a copyright strike. So to make sure that won't happen again, I'm going to introduce my little buddy Ed, the copy strike deterring ostrich, placed randomly in this video as to help prevent another takedown. With that out of the way, let's begin. The episode starts off with Steven and Connie roasting marshmallows by a fireplace when Connie gets a call from her parents about a massive snowstorm heading their way. They tell Connie to come home right away, but Steven wants her to stay. We then have a pretty sweet moment between the two. However, it's cut short as the crystal gems barge into the room and ruin the moment. This does lead to my first problem with the show, the characters. I just don't like any of them. I find most of them annoying, like Amethyst, Pearl, a majority of the side characters, and especially Steven himself. Steven isn't just annoying to me, he is his own special case, and I'll talk about him later. Garnet tells Steven that he must be responsible and make the right decisions before giving him a kid that I'm sure will in no way affect the plot of the episode at all. Steven and Connie head over to his dad's place so he can give Connie a ride back home. Steven, of course, wants to buy some more time to hang out with Connie, so he asks his dad to go change his clothes. And by God, I said it in the original review and I'll say it again, just look how crushed Greg looks in this scene. It's as if his own son just crushed all the joy Greg had left in his life. This calls for a scene from... Greg tries on a few outfits and heads out on the road. The snow starts pouring down heavily, and their van ends up spinning out of control. The van crashes, and they are left with no choice but to walk the rest of the way on foot. This upsets Connie's parents when they arrive, and it seems like Steven really messed this all up by wasting time. However, Steven starts to act strange when he notices the back of Greg's light-up jacket, and he ends up going back in time to when they had the crash. Steven warns others that it would be best to stay in the van instead of trekking on foot, though this plan fails as well, as Connie's dad decides to go out and look for her, only to crash into their van on the slippery roads. Steven flashes back in time yet again to when he and Connie went to Greg's, and Steven has had enough of this Groundhog Day shit, so he grabs Connie and runs off with her like a fucking lunatic. They arrive back at Steven's place where they catch the crystal gems. Ah, forgot about it. It's not like what they're doing is important to some overarching plot or anything. But after a massive explosion, Steven flashes back in time again to the point where Garnet had kissed him. Yup, never saw that coming. Apparently this entire episode and experience was a lesson to teach Steven to make the right choice. I mean, there had to have been easier ways to do it. But hey, whatever fills out a 12-minute episode, am I right or what? Steven doesn't waste any more time and heads straight out for Connie's house, making it to her house before the snow gets too bad. Steven and Connie say their goodbyes and all that good stuff, but not before her parents suggest that they stay until the snowstorm passes. Now the episode itself was okay up until this point, but this last minute of the episode is what sold me on the show. It's because of this one single moment that I continued to give Steven Universe several chances, hoping that they would be able to learn from this scene to make more emotional moments in the show. But no Steven Universe episode to this date has been able to replicate the beauty of this scene, and that's just the scene cut down. The full scene is just amazing. The entire scene is dead silent and it lets the atmosphere do the talking rather than the characters. That's kind of why I find the characters annoying, especially Steven. They just don't know when to shut up. Every time there's supposed to be some emotional scene, it always has to be the characters yelling and shouting about it. They never take advantage of a quiet atmosphere. This problem is especially transparent with Steven as he shouts almost all of his lines. He bothers me the most because he's the main character. He's a child going through these new experiences, and instead of taking them in, he just shouts about them. There's a rule to this stuff. It's called show and don't tell, and 99% of the time, Steven Universe is all tell. People talk about how Steven Universe is smart and it treats its audience like adults. But no, the show constantly has to explain every single fucking thing that happens. This is the only episode I found that properly showed a scene without needing to explain everything that was going on. The show's writing and characters are definitely what keeps me from watching it. The only thing I would praise Steven Universe on is its music, as it can have some real great songs, but that aside, I can't praise it for much. I would give it points for animation, but the more I see of this show, the more animation errors I notice, and there are plenty. Hell, this episode even has one, in this scene where Greg's honking his horn and yet they aren't shown in the front seat.
I got it. I got it. I don't got it.
But that aside, I can see why people like Steven Universe. And if they enjoy it, then hey, more power to them. It's just not my cup of tea. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my review. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support future content on this channel. And I'll hopefully see you guys on the 3rd year anniversary.